Hello everyone and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Terrifier 3. So for me, this was my most anticipated horror film of this year, and I'm sure for a lot of you out there, this was also the case. So this film had a lot of expectations on its shoulders. You know, Terrifier 2 was a huge success, propelled Art the Clown, as many believe from that film, that he's a modern horror icon. And people would say that this film should establish that even further. Damien, the creator, writer, director, said that he could push things even further on this film. It's going to be gory, it's going to be nastier, it's going to push the story forward in interesting ways, and also exploring the lore. And are we going to get questions from what happened in Terrifier 2? Maybe with more questions that need to be answered in a later film. So let's get into what I thought about Terrifier 3. So for me personally, as a huge fan of this franchise, as a huge fan of David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, as Lauren Rivera as Sienna Shaw, and also just a massive fan of Damien Leone, his work and this world he's created, and these characters he's created, I was very, very hyped to see this film. I was reading every little thing that I could about this film, with avoiding spoilers, of course. The trailers that they released I thought were great. The teaser trailer and then the other trailers we got a few months ago, I thought they were really well done. And then last week, I actually went to London. I actually got to meet the creator, writer, director, Damien Leone, along with the producer, Phil Falcone, and Elliot Fulham, who plays Jonathan, Sienna's brother. So that really got me even more hyped for this film. So going into it, I was so excited. So this film had its preview in Texas at Fantastic Fest about a month or so ago. And then in the UK, there was a premiere last week. And I believe there's a premiere also in Australia prior to the release date of yesterday, the 11th of October. There were lots of talks, and I saw lots of people on YouTube that I also follow saying that they went to screenings and people were like being sick, or they just didn't like it. They walked out during the opening sequence. Now, this is something there's a lot of controversy saying the first sort of like teaser that was showed a lot of controversy about potentially what might happen in this opening scene. Damien Leone sort of teased that the sort of opening of this third installment was going to be like Scream meets When a Stranger Calls, and that it's going to be very, very controversial. Now, without getting into anything, it was a brutal opener, and I thought it was really well done. But in no way did I think it was nowhere near as controversial as what people make it out to be. Of course, people have different opinions on things, what's offensive or controversial to them, or what they find distressing. For me, I watch a lot of horror films. I think I'm quite desensitized to it, but I can understand maybe why some people are like, oh, that went a bit far, and that's literally within the first 5 minutes. But I think that sort of the opening sort of 5 to 10 minutes really sets up the tone on this film. And I think personally, there are nastier things later on in the film that outdo this opening scene. Lauren Rivera reprising her role as Sienna Shaw, and Elliot Fulham, who plays her brother Jonathan from Terrifier 2. So from the aftermath of that film, those are the surviving characters that we have coming into this. And we find them both in really interesting situations. There's a lot going on with Sienna's character after the events of the last film and the trauma of what she's going through. And the way they explore that, I think, is really well done. That's one aspect of the film that I really did like. Sometimes you get a lot of these like final girls when they're in like another installment of a horror franchise, is you don't really see the trauma, what's happened to them and how it's affected them. They just seem to be come across as these strong characters where nothing seems to faze them. But it was something really interesting to explore in this, and sort of the relationship that Sienna and Jonathan have, I thought was a really interesting dynamic, very different to the last film, but I think both of them do a great job. And Lauren Rivera, she is absolutely incredible in this film. Some of her acting when she's in some really horrific situations, you know, she's amazing, and I can see her doing, hopefully I'd like to see her do a lot more, obviously, in this franchise, which she's going to be doing, but I'd like to see her in other horror franchises, and even outside of horror. I think she's one of those actresses that's got a real exciting career in front of her. David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown is amazing as ever. Just his physical performance being a silent character, it's just the facial expressions that he makes when before he's killing someone or after he's killing someone, the way he taunts them and he's gleefully sadistic in what he's doing. It is honestly really, really awesome stuff. And I think for me personally, as a horror villain, he definitely is one of the top horror villains, horror icons, slasher icons, definitely of the modern age. The only thing I would say though is I feel in this film that at times he was too goofy. So for example, there's a really horrific death scene leading up to a horrific death scene or after a death scene. I think they lingered a bit too much on his goofiness. I mean, it's always been in the first two Terrifier films. I'm like, example, one of my favourite scenes is the first Terrifier film, where he skins the woman with the like baby doll, and he wears her like skin, her breasts and her, you know, her lady parts, and he's prancing around like flicking his hair and stuff like that. It is disgusting, but hilarious at the same time. But it finds that balance. But I think there's quite a few times in this film it doesn't quite find that same balance for me. And that's personally, again, maybe on a rewatch in future when the film's released on Blu-ray, you know, when I watch it again, I might enjoy those aspects more. But as a first time watch, it did take me out of the experience somewhat. But David Howard Thornton, as a performance, incredible, as ever. You cannot talk about a Terrifier film without talking about the gore. Now, there are some really insane moments in this. But for me personally, nothing in this tops the alley bedroom scene from Terrifier 2. I mean, I have to give props to Damien Leone and his special effects team, because they do look so damn real. Out of all three films so far, this is the most realistic. Some of these kills in here are, I don't know how they've done it. I'd be interested to find out how they've done it. I'm sure there will be some kind of documentary like they did with Terrifier 2 about how they filmed some of these scenes, but they are really nasty. But saying that, there are certain kills in this, I think they could have gone a lot further. And I know that seeing interviews with Damien Leone, he said that there were certain aspects he didn't want to go too far and alienate the audience. I think there's going to be things in this anyway that people don't have strong stomachs, that are going to find things offensive or disturbing or just disgusting that they can't handle it. But for like a hardened horror hound like me, there were certain scenes where they don't really show you, it's cut away, and then you see an aftermath, or sometimes you don't even see an aftermath. And for a film that's, they say they want to make it gory, the most gory, disgusting film ever, I think you need to show those things. You need to horrify your audience. You need to show everything. And that's just something for me personally. And I must give a big shout out though to Damien Leone. I mean, he was approached by some really big studios after the success of Terrifier 2. And when he showed them his script for what happens in the first 5 to 10 minutes, none of those would touch it with a barge pole. Now, he could have been someone that, okay, I'll scrap some of these scenes here, we'll water it down, give it to these bigger studios, and he would make more money out of it. But no, Damien Leone had a vision, he stuck to that vision, he stuck to his guns, he stuck to the indie filmmaker that he is, and he made the film that he wanted to make, the stuff he wanted to include. I think that needs to be celebrated, because we have so much stuff in horror this time. Certain studios that just pump out film after film of the same regurgitated stuff. They don't show anything horrific. They shy away from certain content. But Damien Leone, he's brave enough to put stuff out there. Even though there are things in film I think they could have gone further, he definitely goes further than any other filmmaker in the horror industry. And what I'm hoping for these films, these Terrifier films that he makes, I'm hoping it's going to spur on other indie filmmakers and also big studios to have the balls to actually include and make their films nastier and show more, especially with the practical effects. Like I said, the practical effects him and his team uses are absolutely outstanding and disgusting. One aspect of this film that I really liked, which I was really looking forward to, was Samantha Scafidi as Victoria Hayes. Wow, she is creepy as fuck. There are some scenes in this where her performance is great. Just the makeup is just, I love that makeup. It's just so fucking nasty. But there's one particular scene where Art's doing a kill, and while he's doing a kill, she does something. I was like, holy shit, that is fucked up. So I think for those of you that were maybe on the fence about what Victoria Hayes' character is going to be in this, and obviously people are a big fan of the pale girl from Terrifier 2, like I was. But the fact is, because she's an adult, she's more sort of like capable. It's like she's a really good like sidekick for Art the Clown, and she does some really cool stuff in this. I think people are going to really enjoy it. I think people are going to enjoy certain aspects of her character more than Art the Clown in some of the things that she does. With regards to the lore that they set up in Terrifier 2, we do get some answers in this third installment, or hints of where the story's going, which I appreciated, but at the same time, I don't feel that there was enough. I know obviously there's going to be Terrifier 4. I've just seen recently that Damien Leone said there could be at least 2 more films, so it's going to be stretched out over that. So I know there's going to be more lore and more answers that we're going to get over those next 1 or 2 films. But I just felt they should have done more in this. And also, the pacing of the film, I know people argue and say that Terrifier 2 was way too long, you know, almost 2.5 hours. I mean, I watched both Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 recently before I watched Terrifier 3 again. And every time I watch Terrifier 2, the runtime, I think, is used really, really well. That's just me personally. But I feel in this, it was slightly shorter. But I think the pacing, it didn't work for me in certain aspects. Especially when you get to the third act, it just felt very, very rushed for me. Again, maybe on a rewatch, maybe that's something that I will enjoy more. So in conclusion, I did have a good time with Terrifier 3. Please don't think I'm being overly negative about the film and some of the things that I've said. I just think there were certain things on a first watch that I didn't quite like. Like I say, things with the lore, I thought the kills they could have taken, the gore violence they could have taken even further. But again, like I said, sometimes, I'm sure a lot of people have this as well, is you watch a film, you're really excited for it, you watch it the first time, you come out and you're like, either you don't like it or you're not sure what to think about it. Some films instantly you like. But then certain films on a rewatch, and you watch more, you like them more. Because this film throws so much at you, it is a lot to take in. So I'm hoping on when it comes out on the Blu-ray, hopefully before Christmas, is that I enjoy it more. And I'm sure that I will. But these are just my initial impressions. But, you know, I personally do think David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown is a modern horror icon. As a character, I think he's absolutely fantastic. I just wish they would tone some of the goofiness down in this a little bit. The other thing I was going to say as well is that it does sort of blend the styles of the first film and the second film. It does have a more of that grittier grindhouse sort of look and vibe of the first film, while retaining sort of those elements of the second film. I say a lot of the camera work and the lighting is really, really good. I do like the Christmas aesthetic, that vintage Christmas aesthetic, which I think works really well. And I mean, Art the Clown Santa Claus, that's a really cool visual. But like I say, yeah, these are just my thoughts on it. I did enjoy it, I did have a good time, but I wanted to like it more, and I do hope I like it more on a future watch. As I say, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. You can also subscribe to my TikTok, which is also Quest for Horror. And just let me know what you guys think of Terrifier 3. For those guys that you've seen it, please share in the comment section below. Please do not give any spoilers. I don't want this to be spoiled for anybody. For those that haven't seen it, hope you do enjoy it, and then we'll come back to this video and let me know your thoughts. And as ever guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.